ready to rock and roll.
See, rock and roll, man.
Rock and roll. You know what? If we keep using it, maybe it'll piss off Pat. And one day he'll comment on our stuff. He'd be like, hey, that's my thing. You can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could be like, all right, come take it.
I feel like he wouldn't be against us having it.
Nah, he'd be like, oh, sweet brothers.
Rock and roll, brother.
Rock and roll. You want some beard oil?
Yeah.
I have extra.
Basic dude stuff. I do like that basic dude stuff. I think that's kind of.
I think that's fun.
It's funny.
You see his new thing? He's teamed up with some metal musician.
Oh yeah, he does like a podcast
The
thing.
School of Badassery or something like that.
I thought he said that guy was like a reverend too or something like that.
What?
Like he's like he is like he has a church and stuff. But
That's
he's like
cool.
he's a rock. I've never listened to it, but he says that he's like he speaks really well and he has like that like cool way of like rhyming stuff together, like a Martin Luther King kind of like speech stuff where things rhyme and it flows together.
Yeah, I took a little bit of time. I'll see him on Instagram because I don't even know what his name. I think it's the Metal Motivator is the name of the guy.
Yep.
On his Instagram handle. But I've scrolled past and I've seen him every now and then, and I'll stop and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. And then I'll comment.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, rock on. And
Rock
I'll be
and
like,
roll,
sweet
brother.
dude. He like posts a skull emoji. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I should actually take the time to listen to like a full podcast episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Team Sciath podcast. So as I've explained before in our promo videos, so the way that we're going to do content is we're going to do every week, we're going to release a new video. And every other week, that video is going to be an action-based, dynamic workout sort of video. And then in between those, we're going to do this long-form instructional content. Kind of meets our philosophy of creating content that's both educational and inspirational. So this is the first one.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Yeah. So Sam's going to go over some of the methodology for the training program and some of the philosophy behind the programming.
Yeah.
And why it's set up the way that it is.
Yeah. So as we've talked about before, kind of being capable or capability is kind of our underlining method here. So we want everybody to be capable to take care of themselves. And then while they're able to take care of themselves, they're able to take care of others. So kind of the first, maybe the bottom part of that pyramid is physical fitness. And there's a lot of ways to define physical fitness. In the military, in the Army specifically, the Army, there you go. Physical fitness was defined as you be able to complete the mission and then be able to complete a follow-on mission after that. So that's kind of how you define the physical fitness. You're able to do it. And then if something else came up, you were able to move to that follow-on mission and kind of go from there. Kind of the evolution of things, each military branch and firefighters and police kind of have their physical tests. I believe, I know some people aren't a huge fan of CrossFit for whatever reason, but they've come in and kind of given a good definition of fitness, a universal definition of fitness, and kind of given that to the masses in a sense. So I think kind of the things that the military brought in by having physical tests and having requirements, CrossFit has kind of brought that in there with their own benchmark workouts and a way to judge your fitness. Because if you're just doing what you're doing and kind of floating, you go to the gym, you run on the treadmill for 2 miles, you do some curls, you do some sit-ups, and then you leave. There's no focus there. So to have a focus, you have to have an end goal. And our end goal is kind of our physical test and our kind of physical evaluations. So the first one that we go to, it's very basic and it's all body weight movements. So this is stuff that I've done before at my gym, and I've tested it multiple times on myself and other people in a large group of people, from women to men, from people in their 20s to people in their 50s or 60s. So you get a good cross, generational understanding of what standards I believe that people should have when it comes to physical fitness and being capable. So the first part of the test is a max effort strict pull-up. So do as many pull-ups as you can do in one set. And when you come off the bar, you're done with that. So I think we kind of have like a little graph there to show off kind of what my standards are and the things that I've found in doing the research.
Yeah. So those pull-ups, does it matter overhand, underhand?
No, I would say with the test, so going to your beloved Marine Corps standard, you can do a pull-up grip and then switch to a chin-up grip. Because the reality of the pull-up test is to be able to move your body weight.
Overhand or underhand, does it really matter?
My personal opinion, no. Because the whole idea of the strict pull-up is to move your own body weight. So that's the beauty of it is there's no getting away from it. You've got to take your whole body and pull your chin all the way over that bar. So whether your hands are, facing you, your palms are facing you, you're facing away, you're still accomplishing that goal. And in the test, I do use that pretty much that same Marine Corps standard where you can switch as long as your feet don't touch the ground, because we're still pretty much executing the same movement. And then moving on from there, we got a 1 minute air squat. So this is one that for some people could possibly be difficult just because of mobility issues. And then some people not knowing how to squat properly, but it is an air squat. So the benefit of the air squat is you're really not going to cause a ton of damage doing an air squat if you're doing it not completely correct. So that's the good part of that. But with that, there's a standard to the movement. So you come all the way up, come all the way down below parallel. And we use the same kind of CrossFit standard for below parallel. The hip crease goes below the top of the knee. And then the next version of that would be 1 minute's max effort of push-ups, hand release style. We've been doing these for a while, and it's cool that the Army just picked up on this standard not that long ago, because the biggest gripe that I ever had being in the military and doing push-up tests was people not going all the way down or not coming all the way back up. So it can be frustrating to somebody if you're going for a perfect score or something like that, and then you watch somebody else that doesn't go all the way down. It frustrates you to know that maybe they got the same score and then maybe they beat you. So the hand release standard cuts that completely out. You go all the way down, you pull your hands up off the floor, and you lock your arms out. So it makes it easier on the grader, and then it makes it easier on the person executing it. And then 1 minute sit-up test, just a basic kind of core evaluation. Pretty standard for this. I like to use the kind of the Army standard with that, hands clasped behind the head. The shoulders have to go all the way down on the ground, and you got to come up where your hips are above your shoulders are above your hips. And then the last one is a 1 mile run for time. It's not a crazy long distance, but in reality, what this is a baseline. This is a basic test. So the 1 mile run is great for evaluating kind of some of your cardio ability and some of your endurance ability, but also there's a little bit of a sprint ability in there with that 1 mile, depending on how fast you run it and how intense you are when you run it. So that's kind of our basic body weight test standard. And I have some of the measurements there. I pretty much equate them into a minimum standard, maintaining the standard, and exceeding the standard. So those three areas just gives you a basic idea of what you need to work on. If you're exceeding the standard in one, that's great. But if you're below in the other, then that's kind of your focus area, which is another great way to provide that focus that when you go to the gym, like, this is what I need to work on. This is where my weaknesses are. This is where my strengths are. So I can evaluate myself completely and to make a good effort at improving those weaknesses.
So talked about training, right? It's supposed to be goal oriented.
Yep.
There's a lot of value to that, because a lot of guys don't have goal oriented training. They're like, they'll get on a program. It's really, most people, when they start out, it's oriented towards, I want to look good.
Absolutely.
Right. And maybe they did some sports in school. Maybe they took some weightlifting in school, but they want to look better. Right. And then they do. And then they start looking better and they're like, wow, that's really awesome. And then they start looking to feel better. Right. And then, so they start feeling better. So those are both intrinsic things. You're learning how to get feedback from yourself, whether it's the mirror or your general state of health, right? Especially if you have underlying health issues like diabetes, right? Or asthma. And then you start feeling like, man, I'm like way better. But then it's like, well, what after that? What's after that? Being good, right? And that's where like having capability, and like, that's when you start looking for goals. And to do that kind of training, you need to have goals. You need to have measurable performance standards, other than just like, I can move, this much weight on my curls in 3 sets of 10. And it should be a little bit more. And there should be a big fundamental why, right? So Sam's performance standards are fantastic for everything that we want to do for the actual execution of the different skills that are going to be incorporated into the whole methodology, and being able to execute those skills that are vital for being able to help other people, or being able to be involved in an emergency, or if you're in the military or you're a first responder, it's actually part of your job. You're literally a paid athlete. I mean, I know tons of guys, volunteer firefighters or professional firefighters, professional police officers that are not in shape, and they're probably undertrained in their department as well. So it'd be awesome if we could find a way to be able to mash the two.
Yes. Yeah. And I completely agree with what you're saying. And I think I maybe told you the story before, but my first squad leader in the Army told us, our squad, when we just got there, brand new cherry, that he's like, you're a semi-professional athlete. You're paid to run, jump, ruck, shoot, do all that. So you got to take care of yourself. And if you can't take care of yourself, then how are you going to take care of your buddies? And I think that's hopefully a mindset that gets brought more into the firefighting world, police world, EMT, paramedic world too, is that you're paid to be able to move things, to be able to do things, to be able to be capable and be able to help other people. But you got to help yourself at first. And, and I think with a lot of people, they can look at and be like, well, my department doesn't have this kind of standard, or my department doesn't do this, or I don't like their test. Well, you really can't help that. But what you can do is help yourself, and you're in charge of your own training. So if you want to do things, you do them, and be the change, be the first person to make that change in your department by taking care of yourself, by being healthy, by working out, by doing the right things. You're not going to change things about complaining about it. You're going to change things by getting other people to follow your path, and to follow, to have people to follow you. You got to be a leader. So take that and be the example, and be the person that makes change, and be in charge of your own training.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a call to action. There's all these, well, especially for like smaller departments and like smaller things, where there's a little more leeway, there's a little less pressure to perform right now. So all these older leaders that have been in the job for 15, 20 years that set the cultural standards and performance expectations, they've been doing this hard job for a long time. When you do a hard job for a long time, sometimes you fall into, finding ways to deal with that hardship, that mental hardship and that mental stress. So maybe you fall into drinking too much, or using food, right? Because all these guys work on the road, paramedics. I come from family of paramedics. You guys sit on those roads, and in between those calls, you're like, hey, that Chinese food, I'm gonna eat that Chinese food. You can actually use food and alcohol, is probably the biggest ones, as ways of coping with the stress of your career. And you know what? That's a trap. And I think a lot of guys and gals realize now that there's a performance expectation and standard that you may not be held to by your professional environment, but you should be holding yourself to. And you are exactly right, Sam. You can be part of that change. You can be part of the new mindset and the new way that things are going to be, especially these days, in 2020 with the pandemic and everything else. We've realized that first responders they are the backbone of our society. And it is up to you guys to hold the line. And if you're unhealthy, if you don't have capability, then it's only a matter of time before you're not able to hold the line for somebody. And that can be dangerous and harrowing. Or you can grab this mantle of responsibility. You can own it. You can make it part of your identity and what you believe in, and you can pursue it radically. You can you can not just be in shape, not just look good, not just be healthy, but you can be part of the new wave of high professionalism in these career paths.
I like your term, call to action. Like, this is a call. I mean, this is a call out to everybody. This is a call out to police and first responders and firefighters. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. But this is also a call to just civilians out there that, just a normal guy that has a 9-to-5 job. This is your call. The more physically fit you are, the more resilient you are mentally also. And it helps you deal with stress. And obviously a lot of people are dealing with a stressful time right now. Physical fitness is a way to deal with that, but it's also that, like you said, it's a call to action to everybody to take control of your own life, and be the best person you could possibly be. You don't have to be Superman, but just be the best person you could be. And, hopefully you're heeding that call and listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Pursuing the path. And this is the whole mindset, right? Me and Sam know this. We're fired up to be able to share this with people. And we hope that, you know what, dude, even if this impacts just one person, like all this work and effort, if this just impacts the framework and mindset of one person, that then it's like, yeah, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard, not to be sexy or not to just feel good. I want to hold myself to a higher standard for others so that I can help others. If just one person takes that mindset, then all this work will be worth it.
Absolutely.
And it's not just first responders, citizens as well.
Yeah.
Normal civilians, like you said, 9-to-5 guys, all the riots and everything, all the unrest. It doesn't matter if you're in a rural area, right? And you're already 30 minutes away from a cop or a paramedic. It doesn't matter if you're in the city of New York, where citizens are learning that the police are overwhelmed and demoralized and understaffed. And there's continuing to be this spike in crime that's just climbing. And now people have to band together to protect themselves. I saw this too in Hurricane Katrina. I went down to New Orleans as part of this like relief group or whatever. It was from my church. And I was listening to the locals, and they would tell stories of when the hurricane came in and there was widespread chaos. The entire system of New Orleans had shut down. So this neighborhood banded together. They barricaded their street, right? Because there was widespread looting going on, and they helped each other, and they shared resources, and they shared capability and knowledge and skills to be able to help each other survive until they could be evacuated. So all those things are real, whether it's civil unrest or it's some sort of, tornado, earthquake, flood. Happened in Midland, Michigan. They had that dam that broke. All those people, all these situations, or a fire, home fire, car accident. There's so many things that could possibly come up in which you are immediately put on the spot and others are relying on you.
So you might be the first responder. You might just be a normal Joe. You're not a paramedic or EMT, but you might be the first one responding to it because you're next to it, because it's in your community, because it's happening to your family.
Because you're driving by.
Yeah.
And you see the old lady get head on by a car.
Yeah. So you're actually the first one that's on the scene before the medical personnel can be there. So we're all first responders in some certain way or another, depending upon the situation that we were put into or the situation that we're involved in.
Awesome.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. So going more into methodology, Sam, what other performance standards or measurable performance standards do you have? Yeah.
So we have the basic body weight exercises that we measure, and we use that to kind of figure out where we are. We also have some barbell movements. So, moving another object is a great test of strength, obviously. And it's a great aspect to, being capable. You can be fast. You can have endurance, but you also want to have strength too. You don't want to leave that out there. So with that, I have some areas, again, tested these ones before. They've been around. I didn't invent any of these, but these are the standards that I've seen personally. Again, against a large cross section of people. So we have the back squat. Pretty simple. Again, we're going below parallel for that. And again, we have a graph here that kind of gives the standard for this. And when it comes to these movements, I'll talk more about them. we talk about strength to weight ratio. So depending on how big you are, that's, obviously taken into consideration of how much weight you can move, but we want that strength to weight ratio to be as high as possible. So however you weigh, we want you to be able to lift a certain amount. So all these standards for the weightlifting portion are based upon body weight and the percentage of body weight that you can move. So this is, again, we're working on strength, and we want to be as strong as we possibly can. So we have the back squat, which is, a fundamental movement. Now we're not doing an air squat anymore. We're adding some load onto there to show what we can do when it comes to moving weight. We got the push press. So this is a little bit of a weightlifting one, but it's not too complicated, but it's very fundamental and it's very functional in the movement because we are using our legs and our arms. Most times you're going to do something functional. You're going to do something in the real world. You're going to use your whole body. And then the deadlift, we got the bench press, and then the power clean. So they're all fairly simple weightlifting movements, but we can use these to kind of express where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are. So maybe our upper body isn't as strong as our lower body, or it could be vice versa. But this is where, again, we're given that focus of what we need to work on and making sure that we're as well-rounded as possible.
Yeah. Well-rounded, right? So we talk about capability. So if you think like a hardcore athlete that trains in a specific capability, or let's not mesh words. If you think about a hardcore athlete that trains for a specific sport or activity, like a power lifter, right? Or a marathon runner, take a marathon runner. That marathon runner is going to be better than 99% of the population at long distance, low weight bearing movement, right? Just like the power lifter is going to be better at strength barbell movements than 99% of the population. But that marathon runner is going to be horrible in strength, right? The power lifter is going to be horrible in, low weight, long distance movement, obviously, because they've reached into that 99 percentile. So part of the training falls into this principle of, I'm having a brain fart. What's it called? It's diminished. Okay. So this training is based off of the principle of diminishing returns, right? The law of diminishing returns. When you first start training into a new field, whether it's endurance or anaerobic, or cardiovascular, whatever that is, you're going to get real quick gains really easily, really fast, right? You can get 80% of the way there for 30% effort, that's not a science number, but that's just to give you a generalized idea. Whereas if you want to reach into the 99th percentile, that's going to take 100% effort, right? So if we want to be capable and we want to be well-rounded, if you want to be strong and you want to have endurance and you want to have mobility, if you want to be well-rounded, then you need to be able to train in all these different things. But instead of being 99% better than the population at one specific thing, you could be 80% better at everything. Right?
Yeah.
So that is something to take into consideration. But at the same time, we're all made differently. I'm made differently than Sam, right? Sam can do, 9 Murphs in 24 hours. I can't do that, but I can. If he wasn't training, this dude would be one of those super thin, tiny people.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's my body type.
And I'm got my, Saxon ancestors. So I could probably be, a chunky Viking if I could really focus on strength training. So we all have our own strengths and weaknesses and things that we just generally think are interesting and fun that we're naturally drawn to. So it's good to play on your strengths and to be able to really make those an asset for the people that you're working with. But at the same time, you need to round out your weaknesses. If you're a cop, you're huge and you're a monster, yeah, you may be good in a scrap. But if you're gassed by the time you ran a quarter mile to get to the scene, then you're not helping anybody, right? Got to be well-rounded. If you're a firefighter and you have great aerobic activity and you can go inside of a building, you can manage your output to oxygen use appropriately, but you can't drag anybody, you got a severe weakness there that you need to round out. So those are just some examples.
Yeah, no, those are all great examples of being well-rounded and being capable.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So another couple ideas we have here, and this just plays off kind of the military side of it, but I think this would be a great test for a lot of people. And this is just my personal opinion when it comes to these things. I've researched a lot of different kind of military tests. There are PT tests from all over the world, and I've done a majority of them myself, just testing them out. But this is just for the military side out there, just giving you kind of an idea. This is one test, a very simple test, because when it comes to tests, you can get pretty complex. You could do 10 different exercises and things like that. But that when it comes, again, that's almost a diminishing return thing. You put so many tests out there that you're measuring so many different things. You're getting so much kind of different evaluations there. So the idea of it being simple and being easy, but simple and effective. So this is just a personal one that I want to throw out there, but this would be my military PT test. I would go with I think the Army's done a great job kind of revamping their PT test. And I would go with 3 rep max hex bar deadlift. I think that's a great exercise, measuring lower body strength. And then last two, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with the United States Marine Corps standards on things. Again, I love the pull-up. You're moving your whole body weight. There's no hiding. When you think about a push-up is a great example of, upper body strength, but you're really only moving a percentage of your body. You're not moving the whole thing. When you do a pull-up, you're moving the whole thing. So if you have to get up over a wall, if you've got to go over top a fence, if you have to pull somebody, a pull-up is a great measurement of total body strength. And it's a great strength to weight ratio exercise also. And the last one was a 3-mile run. It's a little bit longer of a run, which I think for the military, the endurance side of it's a big aspect. There's difference between, urban operations and kind of rural operations, but military wise, there's always kind of a level of endurance that needs to be carried over for everybody. You've got to be able to move long distances and heavy loads. So having that 3-mile run, I think it's a better equation. It's a better evaluation for some endurance as opposed to other, the Army and Air Force and Navy. Theirs runs are a little bit shorter. I think the 3-mile or 5K is a great test.
Nice little blend there.
Yeah. I figure it takes a little bit of both worlds there. And you got, for the bigger dudes, you got the deadlift. So, they got that part of it. For the guys a little smaller, maybe at pull-ups, they got that part of it. And then at the end, you just got to run. So
yeah, if you're that well-rounded monster that can crush 6-minute miles,
they're out there, man.
Yeah,
there's crazy monsters that are big dudes that can run and do pull-ups and do other stuff. So they're out there. You can't use that as an excuse. Well, I'm a bigger guy and I can't run. I've seen plenty of big dudes that can run long distances. But with the other side of it, so like they said, that's kind of my personal, what I think a good PT test would be. But when it comes to other jobs, fire, police, EMT doesn't really have a physical test, but
they should.
They really should.
Mm-hmm.
Their job should be, or their test should be moving odd objects. But for police and fire, there's a lot of different ones out there and each department is usually different. In most departments, it's really a entry level test. You do the test one time and that's really the only time you have to do it, which is unfortunate. But again, like we talked about, you're in charge of your own training, heed the call and be the best you can be and be the example. So with that one, there's a lot of hard things that you have to measure there. But, and like I said, each individual department has a different one, but they all should be, in my opinion, some kind of work-based thing and like metabolic conditioning. So it should be something that is wrapped together. So for a lot of fire tests, you're pulling hoses, you're moving like fake casualties, you're doing that stuff, and it should be continuous. So when I say Metcon, it should be continuous. So I believe the same thing with the police physical fitness test. It should be a continuous, it should be a sprint in a body armor with a drag, maybe with some other kind of exercises, but those specific job tests, in my opinion, should be continuous and should be all mixed together. You could have an entry level test of a pull-up, or a push up and a sit up and a run thing. That's a great entry level test. But if we're really just testing your capability at your job, we have to make it functional. We have to make it real world and we have to mix it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this. So we're going to have a Sam Parker fitness test for all these different capacities. Cool. We'll have that on our website, by the way. So if you head to our website, we'll have these physical fitness. We'll have some free samples of some workouts, some different plans that are made free and available to people. And we'll also make free the performance standards, the measurable performance standards and fitness tests. So you can check that stuff out. And if you like the fitness, if you like the samples, if you like the methodology, then you can buy one of our plans, which are very affordable. They're not these like $100 plans that some people put out there. You know, we're more like, you know what, let's do something good. Let's get some good value out there. But, you know, financial support does enable us to be able to do a lot more things to produce higher quality content. So they're out there and that's available for you guys. So go check that out if you're so interested. What you can also do is you can follow us on social media, and we're going to have the daily WOD, right? The workout of the day made available for free. All you got to do is just give us a follow on Instagram. It'll be on Facebook too. And you'll be able to see that. And those WODs they'll fall under our methodology, the Team Sciath methodology, to make you well-rounded and capable. If you are looking for some sort of measurable performance standard in a specific application, though, check out those fitness plans. When we talk about, a lot of what we talk about is personal development. And on that personal development, you know, is your fitness journey. So you start off wanting to look good, which is fantastic. Great way to start. It's pretty much everybody's entry level motivation. Good for you. And then it's about feeling good, right? So feeling good could be physically feeling good, eating healthier, sleeping better, or perhaps it's even a sense of fulfillment, right? So you sign up for a marathon, or you sign up for that weightlifting competition, or you signed up for some crazy training program and you did it. You know, that's good too. As you do these things, it builds your confidence, builds your self-worth. It makes you're more capable of handling stress. You're more capable at your job. You're more capable as a family member in everything that you do. But once you've reached that point and now you have all this potential, what do? The pinnacle of this journey is first it's looking good, then it's feeling good, then it's doing good, right? Being good, executing things, tasks, being able to be proficient and capable to help other people in emergencies. You can only be capable and help people in emergencies if you both have the physical capability and the skill to be able to do those things, right? Maybe that's the rescue drag. Maybe it's some sort of medical intervention, basic level medical interventions like tourniquets. Maybe it's marshals and combatives, being able to protect yourself and protect others, right? This whole thing is all about having the capability to protect and preserve life. So if you want to reach the pinnacle, the peak of your personal development, of your personal capability, it's no longer about you. It's about what you can do for others. And that's a terrific motivation. When you make your physical fitness the responsibility of being in shape and having these skills and being capable, not about you, but about others, that's a high call to action.
Yeah, I think that's, the ultimate level of fulfillment, is helping other people. I don't know. Personally, I know when I've helped people and I've done things for other people, I feel the best after that. And, this is making you a better father. This is making you a better husband. This is making you a better member of the community. And that's what it's about. It's about being the best you can be. Got to be Superman, but you're being the best you can be, and you're going to help people along the way. And that feels good, and it gives back to the community, and it just spurs on that.
Mm-hmm. You said father, right? Man, which is totally cool because that's traditionally the role of protector, right? Mm-hmm. But also women. Yes. This is a call to action to women too, and moms, right? What if your car breaks down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the winter? You got to carry your kids through the snow to some gas station or somewhere because you're going to freeze to death in that car, right? Can you drag your spouse out of a house fire if they're passed out?
We rise to the level of, of the level that we have to go to. If we're not exposed to those different, sources of stress, then we're not going to rise to that. So to get to that point, to be able to take care of yourself, you got to push yourself. You got to do things that are uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. There is no limiting factor. Anybody can pursue this path. Anybody can pursue this journey. Anybody can take the idea that I'm going to be capable. I'm going to make myself strong. I'm going to gain these skills and this knowledge that I need to be able to protect those that I love and care about, or even just my own community.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you feel this call to action. I hope this resonates with you. And if it does, let us know. Let us know the things that you want to see, that you're interested in. Please comment, like, subscribe. Those are ways that you can help us and promote the message for free. Would really appreciate it. Also, please check out the website and go on there, get some of the free material, and follow us on social media, because we're going to be constantly releasing new content, new videos that are going to be talking about new methodologies, new tools that you can apply to your own training, as well as new skills that you'll be able to work on as well. And also shoot us a message, because we're going to be doing Q&As in the future. So shoot us some messages with some questions, and we'll do our very best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.
See ya.